Hello, my name is John Hausman, and I will be presenting 3 strategies for making Hindustani instrumental music accessible to anyone. The language and conventions of Hindustani music are different from those of music that most Western listeners are familiar with, but with a little performance experience, I have found that people from all musical backgrounds can internalize 3 of the style's key concepts and have a basis for understanding and appreciating the beauty and artistry of Hindustani performances. The strategies that I'll present model 3 of the foundational aspects of this music: singing the drone, singing a rag, and counting tal. The first strategy involves singing the drone. While defining the concept is important, doing is always better than explaining. Towards that end, I invite everyone in the class or my audience to join in singing the drone on the syllables sa, sa. Now, for the purposes of this video, I've omitted the participatory aspect of these demonstrations, but I have included a model of these on my SoundCloud page and will refer you there shortly. I found that this sort of communal singing can take some coaxing, but it's usually not a problem if you commit and are welcoming, and sometimes a bit patient. By performing the drone, the audience can hear for themselves how the sound will permeate the space of the recital hall or of a recording, serving as a fixed point of reference for performers and audience. It also shows the music's fundamentally different orientation away from harmony and towards melody and rhythm. This leads well into the second strategy, singing rags. After defining the concept, I invite my audience to sing ascending and descending forms of simple rags. I found that Bhupali works well. Though it has some larger intervals, it uses the same form for the ascent and descent, and is aurally similar to the Western major pentatonic scale, a collection that most are familiar with. I found that modeling this reduces anxiety, so I typically sing and then invite the audience to join me. Depending on the background of your audience and the time you have available, this singing can also be done in solfege. The syllables are sa, re, ga, pa, da, sa. Sa, re, ga, pa, da, sa, da, pa, ga, re, sa. This strategy introduces another key concept, using the same tools that Hindustani musicians use while they are learning. After this, I break the group into 2 parts. I have one sing the drone, and the other the ascending and descending rag. Then I have the group switch. Not only does this provide an additional opportunity to sing both the drone and the rag, it allows everyone to contextualize the drone's function as a reference point for the performance and to hear a rag moving against it. Their performance also helps the audience members internalize this specific rag's pitch collection, giving them a different perspective when listening to subsequent performances. Most importantly, it makes everyone a participant in this musical tradition. By performing this music, even at a rudimentary level, it stops being geographically and aesthetically foreign and becomes familiar. I typically use this exercise as an introduction to singing a full composition in the rag, and I do stress that the ascending and descending forms are not the complete rag, but are rather one representation of the rag's pitch content. This leads to conversations about the other musical and extra-musical or stylistic factors that constitute a raga, and the different formal conventions performers use to present it. This leads naturally to a discussion of the 2 broadest structural ideas delineating a Hindustani performance: music performed without or with meter, and the third strategy, counting tal. After explaining and defining the concept, I invite everyone to count in teen tal, the most commonly used rhythmic cycle in Hindustani music. It's a 16-beat cycle that lays out well on the hand. To count the tal, take the tip of your thumb, and touch it to the base, joints, and tip of each of the 4 fingers in the left hand. Each segment represents a beat, and when you get to the tip of the index finger, you simply return to the base of the pinky and continue the pattern. Depending on the background of your audience and the time you have, the audience can join in the clap and wave patterns that delineate key structural beats. There are claps on beats 1, 5, and 13, and a wave on beat 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 1. This strategy, like the drone and rag performance, scaffolds well for audiences with varying musical backgrounds. The strategy also allows listeners to feel the tal, making a somewhat abstract musical concept concrete and visual. The audience can see and feel the most important beats, those at the base of each finger, and begin to understand the cyclic nature of tal, since the physical gestures repeat in a loop. Since many performances are in team tal, this method provides audiences with a way of following the cycle and understanding the rhythmic plays of the performers. One final advantage to using these strategies is that they mimic the way Hindustani musicians themselves begin learning these concepts through imitation of the models of their gurus. This can lead to conversations about how music is learned, taught, and transmitted in oral traditions. I'd like to share 2 additional resources for exploring these concepts in greater depth. The first is a Dropbox folder that contains selected recordings I've used in class, as well as several performances in Rag Bhupali. It also contains written resources on Rag, Tal, the sitar, and Ravi Shankar. The second resource is a SoundCloud page featuring examples related to the strategies I presented today and an extensively annotated performance in Rag Bhupali that has notes about the pitch and tal cycles that can reinforce some of these concepts. Please feel free to contact me with questions if you're interested in incorporating any of these ideas into your own classes. Thank you very much.